Hi, I'm Ian Brooks. This is paper 64, looking for green ICT jobs. I should explain who I am. I am senior lecturer in sustainable IT at the University of the West of England. I spend 60% of my time teaching IT students about sustainability, but I spend 40% of my time teaching our master's environmental consultancy course. Now, on the master's course, I really know the consultancies and jobs that the students will go to. Right from the moment they arrive, I start talking to them about their interests, and I can match them to hiring managers to make sure that we get them into jobs as quickly as possible. I can't do that for the IT side. I don't know who is hiring for green IT skills. Well, I know a few, but it's not, my knowledge is not as systematic. And so that's the motivation for this. I wanted to try and count how many green IT jobs are there in the UK. This is outside my normal area of expertise. So I worked with a colleague, Damian Whittard, who's in the business school at UE, and he's previously worked at the Office for National Statistics. He has access to the secure data service of the ONS. And earlier this year, he published a paper on green jobs in general in the UK. So what we did was take his method and take it a little deeper just into green IT. So there's the typical agenda. Disclaimer is important. This work is replicable. There's a replication package online, Zenodo. But in order to fully replicate it, you would need access to the secure research service. It's possible for most academics to go through the process of getting access, but you couldn't do this study without it. Also, although the ONS has given us permission to use and extract and publish this data, they do not endorse it. This is not an official statistic. And because we're looking at a sample, this may not reconcile exactly with ONS published statistics about the workforce. That's just the nature of working with this kind of data set. So why count green ICT jobs? I get rid of that header. Just click on it. Thank you. I don't need to elaborate for you. You know that we live in an unsustainable global economy that we collectively drive. We need transformation. We need new green industries. We need to transform existing industries, and some industries are going to have to stop. The fossil fuel intensive industries, which we might call sunset industries, they're going to have to go away. I'm interested in preparing students, IT students, to succeed in green IT jobs. So I want to know how many are there in the UK and what sort of characteristics do they have? Definitions. The top definition there is the most widely used one from the United Nations Environment Programme, and it's quite a good definition. So this is a definition of green jobs. We'll dive into green IT jobs in a moment. I really like the middle definition, which predates that one and is from an Australian team. Could you have a green job that is unethical? I think it's a good extension of the definition to talk about the ethical nature of the work. Not just is it pro-environmental, but a green job should be one that is also socially beneficial. But for this paper, we've used the official Office for National Statistics definition, and I like the fact that it explicitly mentions climate change, mitigation, and adaptation. Well, that's interesting, has some challenges there. So adaptation to climate change could be building up seawall defenses. if you are a construction engineer pouring concrete to make bigger sea walls, is that a green job? It might be if you use this definition. How do we count them? So most national statistical organizations use standard industrial classification or something very similar, and they can tell you the amount of revenue by industry, and you can look at the data tables for that. With that, we can very clearly pull out the environmental goods and services sector. So water, sewage, recycling, environmental consultancy. It's relatively clear to pull this data out of the system. But there are some real problems with this classification. So for example, production of electricity, it does not have a code for renewable or fossil fuel. We cannot tell the difference between clean and dirty electricity. So that particular code hinders our ability to see the green economy as it develops. Another way to look is by occupations. What are the jobs that people do? Again, standard occupational classification. There's a team in the US, ONET, who have done some really good work categorizing occupations by those where there'll be an increased demand for that occupation with the green economy, those who are going to need to enhance skills on existing jobs, and the completely new jobs, the new and emerging. And there's an example. Software developers are classified by them as green increased demand. So as the green economy increases, there will be more demand for software developers. Problem. Great work, but they've done it at a level of classification, a level below the data that we collect in the UK. So we had to make some apportionment decisions in converting and using the UK occupation data to say, well, what proportion of that occupation might be green or not? What is a green IT job? Well, we could say it is people doing green jobs in IT businesses. So that might be running the environmental management system for an IT major. It might be doing life cycle assessment for IT products. Is that a green IT job? You could argue that it is. And we would then be looking for people in that intersection, green jobs, IT businesses. What about the other way around? What about IT jobs? IT project managers, analysts, developers who are working in green industries. So we could look for programmers working in an environmental consultancy. And that would be in that category here. Maybe that's what we think of as a green IT job, doing an IT job in a green context. We also introduce here and look for IT jobs in sunset industries. So IT jobs in high fossil fuel industries, refining, aviation. Those jobs are going to have to stop. And it'd be good to know where they are so we can think about some just transition planning. Okay, surely people have looked at this before. Well, yes, there's quite a good literature on green jobs, not so much literature on green IT jobs. We found relatively little on Scopus, but if you want to read something more, I'd recommend COSAR 2024. So published last year, bibliometric study, and their conclusion was that there is a research gap here in terms of understanding the impact of green IT on the labour market, ICT on the labour market. The Core et al. 2019 looked at students who had been on a sustainable IT master's in Finland and what jobs are they doing now, or were they doing in 2019? Rather disappointingly, only 21% of them were in jobs which were directly IT and green. Mishra et al. I did some curriculum reviews of courses, IT and computer science courses, and had a wonderful description of a website where you could look up green IT jobs. Sadly, it doesn't exist any longer. The knowledge has disappeared. I recommend, as related work, Heldal et al., which interviewed IT managers, mostly in green industries, to ask about what are the sustainability skills they expect of their IT staff. I would recommend it because I'm a co-author, but I think it's a good paper anyway. And non-academic, quite a good paper from the UK government, looking at, in fact, emphasizing that there is a software skills gap around clean energy systems. We need more IT people working in that area. And the PricewaterhouseCoopers Green Jobs Barometer, it's online, well worth looking at. It's a good example of how you can present this data. It has a tech component. And then the LinkedIn Global Green Skills Report is also worth looking at, but it's their own data set. It's not entirely transparent about their method. So from an academic point of view, I can't fully endorse it, but it's interesting. What were the research questions? Fairly straightforward. What's a green IT job, sunset IT job? How many are there? Where are they? What sort of people are doing them? We used a method from Damian and Whittard's paper based upon the annual survey of hours and earnings. This is a 1% sample of all employees in the UK. For some scientists out there, a 1% sample sounds pretty unreliable, but in terms of official statistics, this is pretty reliable. It's at the better end of the spectrum. It's well managed and well run. So what's the outcome? Thinking first about green occupations in the IT industry. Our modeling showed that in the UK as a whole, nearly 32% of jobs can be categorized as green jobs. Of those, so 1.259% of jobs are green occupations in IT industries. Where are they? Predominantly London and the Southeast. That's no surprise because that's where tech businesses are headquartered. And many of these roles would be that sort of location. Characteristics, male, quite white. And there's your average pay. You've got nothing to compare that with, but remember that number, 18.74? These are IT jobs in the environmental goods and services sector. Far fewer, 0.092% of jobs. Bit more spread, and I'm based in the southwest of England, so down here, I'm very pleased to see that it is the second highest proportion of IT jobs in green businesses. So this is encouraging for the students that I teach. They're whiter, maler, and they are paid a bit more. I should observe that this is, in a sense, underreporting IT jobs in green industries because it is that very specific environmental goods and services. If we were able to see renewable electricity generators, we'd find more IT jobs, but we can't from the statistics in their current form. What about sunset? So IT in sunset industries, fossil fuel businesses that are going to go away, 0.043% of jobs. So that's under half of IT jobs in that narrow green industries. Where are they? Well, the southeast is no surprise. Northwest, refineries. There's quite a lot of refineries and oil processing up there. Oh, what a surprise. Male, white, and the best paid. There's a transition problem here we think about those in the Northwest, the longer term, those jobs are going to cease. But if we flip back to the green, there's not such a large number of green IT jobs in green industries there. So what jobs are these people going to transfer to? Easy enough if you're in the Southeast, probably find another IT job in a green industry. Lots of questions from this. Yeah, we need to draw a line somewhere. How direct does your contribution have to be a green IT job? If you are an IT help desk person in a environmental consultancy, is that a green IT job? Possibly, might be worth counting it. So we need to try the boundary at different points and see. Frankly, I want to encourage all the students I teach in IT to go into green industries. So even if they are doing standard coding, if it's in a green industry, I'm much happier, and I hope they will be too. The industry codes are a real problem, not being able to tell the difference between renewable and sunset. And we do have a bias towards seeing IT jobs as being inherently green. But if we look at that sunset, these are IT jobs that are involved in doing climate damage. So just because it's an IT job that you're in doesn't necessarily mean it is green by nature. Threats to validity? Well, the code sets are a problem, the classifications, our reliance on ONET and the apportionment we had to do, plus it is a 1% sample. Recommendation, I would love to see other countries repeat this. The replication package is online. If you know someone in an official statistics role, please encourage them to have a look. I'd love to see comparative data. For me, I need to, because I can't really tell very much about the Southwest from this, I need to go and find the actual businesses that will be recruiting students that I teach. If we're in a computer science department teaching, we're probably not going to be the best place to train those green jobs people in IT businesses. That's the environmental consultancy or air conditioning engineers. But what we can do is teach computer science students about green industries so that they know enough to be able to do really well at interview and join a green industry, a green business. And perhaps we can cross-train people with data science skills. We really urgently need national and international attention to the industry and occupation codes so that we can actually see the green industry as it develops. So that's it. The references are available in the paper, as are also the specific industry code lists if you want to follow up. And if you do want to replicate, really like to hear from you.